Cutters Scotiabank Saddledome Thursday, March 31st, when we take on the LA Kings. Game time is 7 o'clock. Head to CalgaryFlames.com for all your ticket information. On behalf of all of us, my name is Beasley, saying so long and good night. Now down to Parker and Cory Sarich for tonight's Ram post-game show, brought to you by your Alberta Ram dealers.
Winning Motor Trend Truck of the Year 3 times in a row? That had never been done before. Then again, neither had a 12-inch touchscreen or 1,000 pound-feet of torque. Never been done before. It's just kind of our thing.
Well, welcome inside Flames Post-Game Live, brought to you by your Alberta Ram dealers. Brendan Parker alongside Cory Sarich. It is a 2-1 victory for the visiting Colorado Avalanche, and they take the season series here with the win tonight. A third meeting of this month, and we kind of went into Saturday night thinking that the Edmonton Oilers, Calgary Flames, that had kind of that playoff type feel, two Pacific Division teams, end up getting 14 goals. Tonight it was kind of more of what you would have expected between these two teams. Lower scoring, tighter checking.
Yeah, both teams did their homework on each other, and it was kind of a stalemate out there for a large part of this game. A lot of the game was played in the neutral zone, and a lot of the opportunities came from the outside, and kind of made it easy on the goalies tonight. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it started, obviously, the first period, it kind of seemed tentative to get going, and we saw a couple of chances, but as you mentioned, it's just not of the 10 bell, not of the grade A variety, and maybe that's a testament to the team's commitment on the defensive side of things, kind of trying to keep everything to the outside. Yeah, and you don't get games like we had in here on Saturday very often, and I guess you appreciate them when they happen, and especially when they result in the victory, direction of your own team. Yeah, sure. And they come out on top, but it's maybe not an easy thing to come off of a game like that where it's wide open and high flying, and even to maybe just reproduce portions of that game. Maybe the coach doesn't want anybody to reproduce any part of that game, but and what we saw tonight was just nothing the same. Yeah. So it's kind of hard to put your finger on why, but these are two teams that were very well prepped for each other. Is that something that we see, though, in a game like this, where when it is tougher to find chances, tougher to get to the front of the net, that special teams becomes kind of the difference maker, whichever way it goes? Yeah, 100% tonight, and you just kind of knew whoever cashed in on their opportunities with the man advantage would probably come out of this game, and that ultimately ended up being the case, and it's not that the Flames didn't have those chances. It's just you got to give credit to the Avs killers. They got the job done there at the end of the game and in some really crucial spots.
Well, let's, as we talk about power plays, let's show you what the highlights looked like in this game. And as we mentioned, 3 goals, and all of them are with the man advantage. The first one comes courtesy the Calgary Flames. This was a 5-on-3 opportunity, and Tyler Toffoli makes no mistake with a one-timer look. That you don't see him in that spot necessarily all the time on the power play.
No, not all the time, but it was nice that he's just another option over there, and I wasn't sure if Anderson was going to go to him or not. And you know, this play really did start though off a number 19 stick. Great patience and kind of outweighted, pulled defenders over to his side, and you got to take advantage of your 5-on-3s.
So 18 goals on the season for Tyler Toffoli, and his first in a few games, but it would be in that second period, a power play going the other way, and it almost looked like the Flames were going to get out of it kind of into the final seconds of that kill. But Cale Makar finds a way to get this one through to the net.
Yeah, and the guys did a really nice job. They kept most of the opportunities on this power play to the outside, but you could just see it was a bit of a fatigued red group out there in the end. And Makar, he's the one guy you probably don't want shooting out there. He's got a great release, pretty sneaky with that shot, and good job by Nichushkin with the traffic in front. Nice deflection.
Big body, and it hits the body and goes in. 18 for Nichushkin, and then we talk about the man advantage and how it can pay off. Well, they get one here in the third period, and it's the same guy. Valerie Nichushkin gets this one backdoor, and it goes off the stick this time.
Yeah, nice little shot pass there. It was a great entry by Kadri. Kind of caused all the confusion. He's mucking it up on the board here. And this is one thing we haven't seen from the Calgary Flames very often this year, is them losing track of people and losing their assignments on the, especially on the PK, and especially number 8. He's so rock solid back there, Chris Tanev. That was maybe just a little bit of a misread because of the scramble on the boards, but he doesn't lose his guys like that very often. And I think he'll make the necessary adjustments next game.
Well, and then funny, if you kind of look at that one, the tight angle, that puck ends up, it almost looks like it goes under the skate of Goodbranson. So it's through traffic, and a lot of times those are the ones that end up hitting something going away, but it finds its way perfectly right to Nichushkin, and that's just the division, the line that is sometimes between winning and losing.
Yeah, and it's those small differences, and you look at just, maybe it's just having a little bit more traffic going to the net tonight, and maybe it is the odd bounce. Flames didn't get the bounces. They had one off the end boards there that Kemper almost kicked in his own net, but those can be just the little fine lines between winning and losing.
Yeah, no question about it. Maybe as we kind of talk about chances, it would be, let's start with, Jacob Markstrom, because obviously on the home side of things, and we'll get to some Calgary Flames looks, but, you mentioned his night work and his body work, and there were some good saves at different times, especially early in the third. There was some traffic. You mentioned kind of Colorado coming out in the first 2 periods and maybe woke up a little bit in the third in terms of the offensive side, but here's a look at the body work tonight. What did you make of just the chances Colorado generated throughout the evening?
Well, he was on his game again tonight, and you got to give Jacob Markstrom credit. He's been ready to go every single game that he's come in. A couple haven't quite gone his way, but he's a fiery competitor. We saw it on one of the goals. He didn't like the traffic in his crease on that first Nichushkin goal. Yeah. But yeah, he has given his team a chance night in and night out. And even with the heavy workload lately, he seemed very fresh in net. And I just love to see him compete. He's, look at here, coming out high in his crease, making the saves. He's meeting the traffic that's in front of him. But again, I think maybe that might have been just a slight advantage tonight too for the Colorado Avalanche. They had a little more traffic in front of him than Darcy Kemper was posed with at the other end.
And they had some big bodies. I mean, like just at the end there, Mikko Rantanen, Nichushkin kind of there throughout the evening. How about Darcy Kemper on the other side of things? And just, as we see kind of the differences, maybe that is where it was. It's just some of the traffic that was not around it. And Kemper's a big guy. Obviously, he's looking around, guys. But, just being able to see a lot of the looks that the Flames had tonight.
There was a lot of sharp angle shots on Kemper early. Flames did a nice job of putting pucks on him early, making sure that, they know he knows their intent, and that's to get pucks to the net. But again, it was just the traffic that was missing, and even in their little press at the end when they had the goalie pulled, I mean, Rasmus Andersson has a one-timer, pretty easy glove save for him because he saw it all night long. And he had a real calmness about him in net tonight, Kemper. Like, he just didn't really panic on anything, found the pucks and found the rebounds, and it was pretty impressive performance, and you can tell he's got a lot of confidence between the pipes.
Well, and it's funny because if you look through the body of work against the Flames this season, he starts all 3 games against them. Obviously, this one maybe he had the shutout in the last time they met, but he got yanked in the first game, and then here you go tonight, and it's 44 saves, and I would imagine a big confidence builder in these types of games. You're playing top teams in the Western Conference. On that side of things, you got to like what you saw from your goaltender in these moments.
Yeah, and it's interesting when you see a goaltender playing with confidence.
Yeah.
They just make it look so easy, and they don't waste any energy.
Right.
The same could be said about Markstrom.
Absolutely.
And again, maybe it was due to lack of traffic tonight, but Kemper he was so solid in his paint. Really, no overcommitments on pucks, and the few that he did that were tricky, that were bobbled or off the end boards, he made them look really easy.
The one that goes off the pad, kind of coming off the end boards, that was the Rasmus Anderson shot. Misses wide. Anyway, let's go to our first post-game reaction to this hockey game. Daryl Sutter standing by at the podium. Let's listen in on his thoughts tonight.
Good. Go first.
Well, Daryl, in this month, 3 matches against Colorado, we've seen both your goaltenders, some wins, some losses, a lot of special teams out. What did you learn about your group, particularly in playing against the Avalanche?
Well, I think if you just break it all out, 5-5 for the year, we've actually scored more goals than them. But if you look in the odd man stuff, even tonight, it's 2 power plays goals for them, right? So it's a difference in the game.
Penalty kill's been very, very good all season, up until just a little bit
Sloppy.
of
2 games were very sloppy, individual mistakes. The first one tonight, pucks should go down the ice. Forwards have 2 cracks at it, and the second one's just a straight read by our defenseman. Just straight read. Those are mental mistakes. That's what they are. It's very simple.
Were there any indicators that this was starting to
No.
leak into the game? No.
No.
Does that just happen with the penalty? Like, there's a penalty kill.
No excuse for it. There's no excuse for it. The first one, puck should go down the ice. Forward's got a stick, shoot damn puck down the ice. Second one's just a straight read by our defense. It's very simple. We're not at their caliber, right? So you gotta, and the second one too, it's 1-1 going into the third, and we take a penalty 200 feet from our goalie. It's a difference in the teams, right?
Did you think tonight was close at 5-on-5, though? You already
It was a
mentioned
good, yeah, 5-5, we were good. I mean, I think we could have got around the net a little bit more, you maybe get a tip or something like that, 5-5, those sorts of things. But when you're playing against defense like that, you got a little bit of courage too.
Is that an example of just the game getting tighter in this part of the season? You've been talking about that
It's
quite a
2-1
bit.
game, I mean, it's a close game. Can't get any closer than that.
We start to see things getting a little spicy out there, and I mean, you've seen a lot of fantastic rivalries through your time in the league. Can you give us a sense of how some of those famous rivalries develop, and are we starting to see that with these two
It's only
groups?
rivalries when rivalries are developed in playoffs and in conference or division series, things like that. Otherwise, there's not, right?
It's been a few games now. How would you assess how Kelly Yarncroc is?
He was better tonight than he's been the last couple.
Is it things he's doing away from the puck that you think are better, or?
Yeah, I just, every team plays a little bit different style, and I think there's still some things he's got to get used to with us.
How long does it typically take a player to get used to? Is it like 10
Hopefully
games?
tonight was long enough.
What about the flip side of special teams in your power play? Do you
Power
got
play
one
scored.
thing?
I mean, if you do that, hey, just do it over the course of the year, right? But you can't give up 2, and you can't give up when it's 1-1 in the third. As I said, it's penalty kill, but those are just glaring individual mistakes.
What do you think of Sean Monahan's return to the lineup tonight?
He's solid. I'm not going to converse about a player that goes in and out of the lineup. If you're in a platoon situation, then make an impact. Otherwise, you just platoon. Doesn't matter who it is.
Going back to the PK, individual mistakes, that's not something that you need to, is that, like, how do you correct that, or what's the recourse after a game like that?
Time of the year where you're still learning, still about a little bit of process for some of these guys, right? It's a little tighter, so it's a little harder.
you make of some of the chaos around Jacob Markstrom tonight and how your team handled that?
I didn't really see it as very much. I mean, we're trying to keep pucks out of the front of our net, and they were trying to do the same thing. I don't think it was that big a deal. I mean, they didn't have much really 5-on-5 until, it wasn't much till the third period when you look at it.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, there is some thoughts from head coach Daryl Sutter and post game. Well, let's pick up on a couple of things. And obviously, as we talked about here, I mean, penalty kill ends up being the difference in this hockey game. And anything stand out to you about just a thought on the man advantages and the PK situations?
Well, Daryl was pretty direct.
Yeah.
It's mistakes, and he said it's been a sloppy last couple games. So, yeah, it is. It comes down to being mentally prepared when you go out there, and it comes down to executing properly. And there was maybe just a little lapse in both of those tonight for the Calgary Flames. And it is interesting to hear Daryl point out that 5-on-5 in this 3-game series that they did outscore the Colorado Avalanche.
Right.
So it just goes. It puts more emphasis on what he's been saying all along, probably as long as he's been coaching, is that, you know what? The man advantage, you can't take stupid penalties. Obviously, he was very unhappy about one that occurred a long way away from their net.
Yep.
And you got to think, though, there's a couple of pretty poor Avalanche penalties, too, that could have bit them. But I guess then it ultimately comes down to execution.
For sure. And being able to score on that opportunity when you get one late. We had another. Is Mikael Backlund there? Let's go listen in on Mikael Backlund now. He's there at the podium as we continue live here on post-game reaction on the post-game show.
It seemed like the game was pretty close and very tight at 5-on-5, but it was special teams that was the difference. Is that how you saw this game?
Yeah, they scored 2, and we only scored 1. So our penalty kills got to be better. Letting in too many goals last 2 games. So we got to pick that up if we want to be good down the stretch here. And probably got a big goal for us there with 5-3. But then we had a look in the third as well and didn't capitalize. And 5-5, I thought we played pretty well in the first and second, and the third they came out better than us. Gave a push in the end, but overall it wasn't good enough.
Michael, we've mostly talked about this penalty kill as a good news story for this team this year. What's kind of been the issue? Where's the disconnect in the past 2 games?
It's just little details. When you break it down, we get buried down. Against Edmonton, I let Mike David come in the slot, and he's going to be really dangerous if he gets in the middle. And today we didn't clear the puck on the first one, and I felt like we can do a better job, be on our toes and pressure more, like we've done all year. And we did play the top 2 power plays probably in the league. We're up there this last 2 games as well, but at the same time we take a lot of pride in being better than the power play guys, and we know it's going to be really important for us here down the stretch and potential playoffs.
Sorry, when the overall numbers have been good throughout the season, is it easier to kind of keep that confidence despite a couple ones that don't go your way?
Yeah, for sure. We know we can be better, and like you said, we know we've been really solid all year. We had some, 1 or 2 games during the year were similar to this, where we let too many in, but we rebounded and we played really solid after that. So knowing that we've been really solid all year definitely helps us, into next game. We know we gotta be better.
What do you take, big picture from the 3-game season series against these guys? It didn't seem like there was a whole lot to give either way. What do you take from it?
It's been 3 tight games. Fun games to play. They're a really good team, deep team, and even they're missing a couple big stars. They're still a really solid team, and it's been some fun, tight games, close games. It'll be pretty cool to play them potentially in the playoffs down the road. We'll see what happens, but it's been some tight games.
No, you go ahead.
We're just talking about the penalty kill. From your perspective, a little bit of a wobble the last couple of games here. What are you seeing that's contributed to the power play goals against?
Yeah, we need to get back to working harder and staying connected as four and outworking the power plays.
Is there anything that you can take away, Chris? I know, sorry if it's repetitive to Michael, as you just heard some of these, but is there something that you can take away from just this 3 games in the last month against Colorado for your team?
I don't know. We lost the series to them 2-1, so obviously we wanted to win tonight. What would have been a big 2 points for us. So we have to learn from our mistakes tonight and regroup against. We play a good team in 2 days.
Sometimes when an element of a game slips, there's indicators of that leading up to it. But it seems like the penalty kill has been pretty good. Did you start to see signs leading into these 2 games that that maybe things were getting looser or anything?
No, I think we were killing well until obviously letting 3 goals in a period against Edmonton, and then tonight was all special teams. They got 2 and we got 1, and that was the difference in the game. So we need to bear down on our clears, on our entries, and like I said, start to get back to outworking the PPs that are out there.
Michael, we started to see some of the emotional stuff kind of just like across the board, the after the whistle stuff. Could you give us a sense of how on-ice rivalries start to develop in the NHL? Like some of them, like Calgary, Edmonton, are kind of obvious, but how do these things start to build and turn into good rivalries?
Well, I think if you have a playoff series like we did a few years ago with Colorado, and then unfortunately COVID happened, but still this year both teams are up in the standings, so 2 good teams going at it, so it definitely gets emotion going, and they're big games. So, but yeah, we want our revenge. We didn't get it. We lost the series here again, but we want our revenge from the series that we lost. This is 3 years ago now, 18-19, and so yeah, that definitely started right there.
Would you be opposed to seeing this team again in the playoffs?
Yeah, like I said, we want revenge, so it'll be great to. That means we're both in the conference final, which will be a huge compliment for us and for them as well. And it'll be a great series. And like I said, we'd love to get some revenge from 18-19, where they outplayed us, and we want to give back to them. And we did outplay them that season, so maybe we'll turn things around this year.
Sorry, can I just circle back on the penalty kill? Like, I know you guys are both frustrated about the way it went tonight. It's such a tough job to begin with. Like, in your experience, what happens after games like this? How do you use it eventually as a positive?
Well, you learn from the goals against, and I mean, like I said, you gotta get better. Everyone that's on the ice needs to work together and work harder and do a better job.
Okay, thanks very much, guys. 11 o'clock.
We call it the Ram 1500 Limited. But, truth be told, there's nothing limited about it. Ram 1500, winner, J.D. Power Award for Best Driver Appeal.
Flames Postgame Live, it's brought to you by your Alberta Ram dealers. Moving our way through the postgame reaction here following a 2-1 Colorado victory over the Calgary Flames here tonight. Snaps a 2-game home win streak. The Flames won back-to-back games over Arizona and Edmonton on the weekend. Brendan Parker, Cory Sarich. We kind of look towards the end of this postgame show. Maybe just a quick thought. We heard, Daryl Sutter mentioned in his press conference about Sean Monahan. Said solid in his return to the lineup after missing both on the weekend. What did you make of number 23? I know limited minutes in some form, but he thought the impact was there. What did you make?
He was really good in the face-off circle, and that has a lot to do with your team having the puck. He throws a nice little check in here in the first period, and I thought he was very noticeable in the first period, and for good reasons. Like Daryl said, you want to make an impact. I think he's going to have to continue to work on his craft in his own end. I don't think it's the most natural thing for him to just be out there and in a checking role, but if that's what's asked of you, he's going to have to just continue to develop and apply himself, and it might require becoming a little more physical. It might might require blocking a few shots and just some things that maybe aren't the norm. And then if he gets comfortable with all that going on, maybe the offense will kick in a little bit too, and you'll get to contribute on the score sheet. But I think where Daryl wants to see impact is just checking and good hard minutes and nothing against.
Yeah. At 9-12 in the face-off circle, as he talked about this morning, that was one of the things he was focused on. So a nice night for Monahan in the dot. And obviously, the Calgary Flames are going to be focusing a lot on the shorthanded situation. That's the topic du jour following this game tonight. Switch gears just for a minute here. Chris Simon, nice little salute. And I don't know if we still have that in there, guys, but if we're going to roll it back, he's back in the house tonight. He gets a nice little salute from the fans. And a guy you played with some time ago.
Never
played
with him. Yeah. I would have liked to have played on his team.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Seems like kind of a nice winger to have up front. Probably feel fairly well protected. And first time I had a run-in with Mr. Simon, well, his hair was about 30 times longer than it looks like it is in this picture. It was his days in Washington.
Right.
And he was one scary individual to play against.
I was going to say a little intimidation there, right? And the Mohawk at times, and we see the highlight reel, and obviously much beloved from the 0-4 run here in Calgary as well. But that was a tough man. Yeah,
those are some big lefts he's throwing out there.
Yeah.
I had my very first game against him. I came down the boards, bumped into him, knocked him over. And he chased me all around the ice all night long, and I took one pretty violent slash from him. I remember that correctly, and he was definitely sending a message.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, my gloves stayed right where they were, stuck to my hands.
Yeah, zippered on. Message received,
good decision, yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. Were you rookie year? Is that?
It was pretty close, yeah. I was right fresh with Buffalo at the time, and I got to play a lot of games against Chris Simon. And you know what was very impressive about him was just his goal scoring touch that year when he filled the net. Was he with the Avs that year where he was filling the net, or was it a Washington year? I want to.
Well, he had a pretty good run with the Avs, and that might have been the year because I think we were looking it up today, and obviously went deep. I don't know. I think he played, I want to say 12 games in that playoff run too, so somewhere in there.
For a very tough, hard-hitting guy, he had a really well-rounded game, and he was a heck of a player.
29 with the Capitals. There you go. Fact check confirmed. 29 goals. We're saying, right? That's no messing around right there. Yeah, almost 30-goal season. Chris Simon, one of the toughest to ever do it, and nice little welcome to the NHL moment for you then too.
Yeah, it was probably not a great decision on my part, but I made wiser ones after that.
After that, you got to learn the lessons along the way. Well, that's good stuff. Chris Simon, welcome back into the Sea of Red. And as for the Calgary Flames, a little reset again here following a 2-1 loss at the hands of the visiting Colorado Avalanche. But the good news is right back at it again. It's the every other day league, and it starts once again on Thursday night with a date against the Los Angeles Kings. It'll finish off this 6-game homestand against St. Louis coming up on Saturday. But as for us, tight checking game, season series over. Two of the top teams in the Western Conference going toe-to-toe, maybe in a future meeting down the road. Flames post-game live brought to you by your Alberta Ram dealers. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you on Thursday night.